Hello everybody, that is here. Today's video will be about new product review. We'll look at LG 27-inch 4K monitor, which was provided by LG with help of Canada Computers, who broker the deal for us. You know, I'm trying to expand channel. We talk a lot and continue to talk a lot about water cooling and computer modding, but I think it's cool to look at some interesting products on the market that make interest and make full computer system for everybody. Another thing is I have to confess that I'm not the best person to talk about 4K monitors reviews because I just got my first 4K monitor a month ago, so I'm not really a subject matter expert. For that reason, I decided to reach my friend Cyclops, who big 4K monitor enthusiast. He had first monitor at the time they just released them at crazy money, and he went through quite a few models, so he has a real background and personal experience to look at this one and see how it starts with everybody else that on the market and what he touched in the past. For that reason, he will be making this review, and I will just film a little bit of the monitor itself, so give you some different perspective, but actual message I think will be more interesting to give to you, to somebody who is a true expert or true enthusiast in the field. So you need to know your limitations to do things right. So I hope you appreciate it and agree with that position. Alright guys, I see you soon, and let's go with the Cyclops message, which come to you shortly.
Hey guys, Cyclops here, and as Daz just mentioned, don't worry, the old content's not going anywhere. He's still going to be doing his regular stuff, the DazLab stupid, the water cooling, the fan comparison, the radiators, all the good stuff. I'm just trying to help him add more content in the channel and maybe even have better quality content. I don't know how that's going to pan out today, but yeah, so don't worry. If you have any suggestions or comments, we do want to hear from you, as long as it's not racial slurs. So please leave a comment down on the video below or on DazMode's forum. So today we'll be looking at the LG 27MU67, and that should give away some of the description. It's a 27-inch IPS panel, 4K 60Hz with FreeSync. Thanks to LG and Canada Computers, by the way, for providing us this sample. It has to go back what the time we have with it. It's quite a special little thing. 4K has been around since never, because it just got into mainstream about a year ago. 4K TVs were around $20,000 when they first launched 3 years ago, and they were just insane. Right now, you can get 4K screens well below $1,000. and have a lot of feature sets with them. So this one in particular, the LG 27MU67, mouthful, the main feature of that you want to take note of is FreeSync. So what FreeSync is, it's a sort of, it's well, not exactly, but it's AMD's equivalent of NVIDIA's G-Sync. So it has to do with frame pacing and having the gaming experience smooth by syncing the internal frame of the graphic card with the monitor. So instead of tearing or input lag, you can get rid of both of them with FreeSync or G-Sync. In theory anyway. FreeSync is slightly inferior to G-Sync mainly because it doesn't have a scaler, but that can also be a positive because of the lower costs that it involves in integrating it into a monitor. So normal panels, adding FreeSync usually doesn't cost a whole lot because it's just a small firmware tweak, and it just has to have DisplayPort 1.2A, which this monitor has. Two of them, one mini and one full size. So I was just wondering, whoa, why did they do that? And this was kind of curious, and it's the first time I've seen it. The DisplayPort cable is actually quite clever. It has a mini DisplayPort on one end and a full DisplayPort on the other. And you might be wondering why. Well, some graphic cards have mini DisplayPorts instead of full DisplayPorts, and that can be a problem because you might have to end up using an adapter. Those are expensive, and it's just it's a nuisance, right? So with this, you can stick either end to the monitor and either end to the graphic card. So 100% of the time, it will work with any DisplayPort that's out there. 1.2A actually. It's backward compatible, but it's been so long that 1.2 has been around that really... I can't find any graphics cards that has 1.1 or something. Anyway, again, the main benefit of this monitor is the FreeSync. So for that, you might want to have AMD graphic card. In fact, you have to have AMD graphics cards to take advantage of FreeSync. NVIDIA graphics cards work just fine with the screen, just you won't be able to enable FreeSync. The FreeSync is a kind of a curious case because it only works through DisplayPort 1.2a, which this monitor has, and most of the latest generation AMD graphics cards have. So the newer stuff since 2013, the Tahiti X and Tahiti XT, the Fury X, the 290, 290X, and 390, 390X, those all support FreeSync. Some of the older 7000 series or the 200 R9 200 series, they might not work. So make sure you check your graphic card and the compatibility, see if it's compatible with the monitor. It's not like it wouldn't work, you just won't be able to turn FreeSync on. That's kind of a waste, really, because if anything, at 4K, you really need this kind of frame pacing that the FreeSync or the G-Sync provides, because you will always quadruple the 1080p pixel density or pixel count, and you'll literally asking GPU to do 4 times more work. And the result of that is you always get lower frames per second, especially in more demanding games like Crysis 3, Battlefield 4, and whatnot. And the lower you go, the more screen tearing and input lag you might experience depending on the panel, depending on the game and drivers. So FreeSync and G-Sync alleviate that in a way. FreeSync a little less sensitive to changes, so there's a range of operation for FreeSync, usually much narrower than G-Sync panel. But if you have an SLI, Crossfire setup like I did, I had a pair of R9 290s and Crossfire overclocked. I played some Project Cars and Crysis 3. It looked great, and the FreeSync really worked. So the picture was buttery smooth, no tearing. It did whenever it dipped below to about 30 FPS and something like that, which was not quite common. You could feel that the FreeSync was struggling to do it, but it was still working fine, and as long as you have a reasonable rig, it'll work fine. The problem I have with it, I ran a pair of 770s with it, 2GB graphic memory, probably not enough, but the main issue I had with it was I couldn't overclock the panel. I usually like to overclock these panels, like the 144Hz panel I have, it's 1080p, but I can push it to 150. Again, it's the tweaking little settings that I think, tweaking is all about, the overclocking and whatnot. It's a culture. Other than that, the panel didn't really have any flaws apart from the capacitive touch buttons. I really didn't like them. I prefer actual physical buttons, but chances are you're probably going to play with it once or twice and forget about it, so I can overlook that. The panel itself is beautiful, IPS, and it supports 99% RGB Adobe Colors spectrum, so it's pretty good. More than good. It's great. Viewing angles are excellent. Left, right, up, down. You can use it in portrait mode, which brings us to the stand. The stand is excellent. Industrial looking, very heavy, and it's a really nice looking stand. It's simplistic, but it's a really great stand. Quite heavy. It mounts via the 100mm VESA mount or VESA hole, so you won't be able to attach anything to the back of a monitor, but what small computer can you attach to run that panel at reasonable frames rates in a game? The VESA mounts, again, 100mm. You can wall mount it if you want, but the stand itself is excellent. You got full pivot, swivel, and tilt, as well as height adjust. You can use it in portrait mode. The stand is excellent. The monitor itself, the bezels are brushed aluminum. Looks great. Fingerprint magnet, but it really breeds quality. Again, for the price, I'm just thinking, like, what panel offered this many features lately as the 27MU67? And I can't really find any. There's some other panels out there, but they're usually TN, usually don't have FreeSync. And yeah. So the OSD has a couple of interesting options. It has gamer modes for both FPS and RTS. It got different modes for the brightness and color quality, gamma adjust and whatnot. I played around with it a little bit, not too much. But you can set the pixel response time to be extremely high or extremely low. You want high for gaming, like FPS shooter for, generally speaking, for fast-paced shooters and whatnot. And there is a myth that kind of dictates the higher response time your panel is, you'll get color accuracy degradation. So I haven't tested this. I didn't test it that extensively, mainly because I didn't see any difference running it at very low response time. So You know, your mileage may vary, but the quality was great at all ranges. So was the response time. Not a whole lot of difference, contrary to popular belief. But again, you have the option there to fiddling with it. Another problem I discovered, or well, just it's a feature set that lacks, is a internal USB 3 hub. Most monitors have them these days. None of my monitors do, and I don't really care. So if you care about that sort of thing, you can always get a USB hub or something. But this doesn't have it built in the stand, unlike some other monitors. Not a big deal to me. Overall, I was quite surprised. 27-inch I thought would be too small for 4K, and it kind of is. But then you look at Windows 8.1 scaling options. I had a 200%. Looks great. It looks fantastic. You can play your games. You can do your work. You can multitask with it using picture-in-picture. You can actually have two separate screens built in if you use the right software. So it quite surprised me at the price that it launched and that it is currently sitting at. It's a definite recommend. So don't, if you're in a monitor for a FreeSync 4K monitor, IPS2, so that's just the cherry on top, definitely consider the LG 27MU67. I do recommend it. Minor flaws, but overall, yeah, a worthy panel, worthy of your money. So leave some comments below or post on the website what you think of the review or the panel, really. Do you guys actually run 4K? What panel are you using right now? Is it 1080p, 1440p? Let us know. I am actually personally interested because I'm still using three 1080p screens with another ultra wide 2560 by 1080 on top just for viewing ultra wide movies. So what do you guys think? What panels do you have? And you know, maybe post the system specs. We'll take a look at them. The most of the audience is into water cooling. Usually when you're water cooling, you typically tend to have higher end hardware. So I'm really interested to see if you guys rather have, you know, good hardware or really high end monitor or maybe both. Where do you spend the money? Let us know. Thanks for watching.